Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. My name is Michael Watson and I lead our Reactor program through the Asia Pacific region. And today it's my great pleasure to have a number of our MVP and student ambassador community joining us to give us a bit of a rundown of some Ignite table topics, specifically the new features in the Microsoft Power Platform. This session is going to be just a bit of an interactive chat amongst friends, fairly casual. So please feel free to put your hand up if you haven't used that function before. It's just located next to the three dots inside this session up the top there. You see there's like a little face and a little hand. Best to hit the raise hand one, and one of the crew, probably Leon, who will be moderator, will be able to sort of take you through and ask the question. If you want to remain on mute, that would be also fantastic during the conversations. By all means, keep your camera on or off. It's up to you. Be respectful of everyone that is joining us for the session. And so, without further ado, I will hand over to Leon, who, as I said, will moderate and kick things off. And please enjoy the wonderful conversation. Over to you, Leon.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael. I guess we should start with a very brief introduction. We've only got 30 minutes, so we don't want to go through our full CVs. But if we could, I guess, give a sentence on ourselves, I'll start. My name's Leon Tribe. I'll be moderating today. 12-year MVP for business applications on the functional side. So there's some much more capable people on the panel today to talk about the development side, but hopefully I'll be able to contribute on that functional side. Olena.
Hi everyone, I'm Olena and I'm BizApps MVP as well, only for 3 years, and I'm a techie, I'm a developer, and my spare time I run a BizApps Women group to support and promote women in the space.
Tae?
All right, my name is Tae Rim Han. Everybody calls me by name Tae. And I'm a technical lead at Blackmores for Power Platform and Dynamics 365. I'm a bit of a techie myself. So yeah, I love just solving solutions and coding away. So yeah, that's me.
Fantastic, thank you. Jatin.
Hey everyone, hope I'm audible and everyone is safe right now wherever they are. So I am Jatin. I am a Gold Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. I have been a part of this Microsoft program for almost over 2 years now, like since 2019. And I am also the league leader along with my mate Jeplet here for the Low Code League. So I am a final year undergrad in my computer science degree at India, and yeah, looking forward to this amazing discussion. Thank you so much, Leon.
No worries, thank you. And finally, Jefflet.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's morning over here in Nigeria, 10 hours behind Australia, and I am super excited to be here with you all. Like Jatin, I'm a Gold Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. Love talking about Microsoft technologies, artificial intelligence, and Microsoft's Power Platform is a major focus. And yeah, I'm here with other amazing persons who will get to talk about the new features in Microsoft's Power Platform. Enjoy the session, everyone.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jefflet. As Michael's put in the comments, feel free to ask questions you have if there's particular aspects of the new recent announcements that you'd like us to chat about or give our thoughts on. You can, of course, put them in the chat, or if you want to put up your hand, you can do that as well, and I'll be tracking that. Otherwise, it's going to be the topics we want to talk about, which may or may not be of interest. But I probably should kick things off. There's been some new licensing that's been announced around Power Platform, and if we go to our limits, etc. And I know, Olena, you've been looking into that a little bit. What are your thoughts on the new pay as you go licensing?
Thank you, Leon. Yeah, actually, it's my favorite topic. So let me just share my thoughts with you. First of all, I just want to highlight the difference in between the standard, like normal licensing for Power Platform as we know it, and pay-as-you-go. So imagine that you're in the kind of amusement park, a Luna Park, and you have carousels. And to go on a ride with your family, you have to buy tickets. And for each carousel, you have to have a separate ticket. So you purchase these tickets, you know exactly how many rides you purchased, and you just go on a ride with your family. It's good fun. And then imagine that you invite your family, and your kids invited their school friends, and everyone has invited everyone, and nobody knows how many people, how many tickets, and how many rides. Everyone's going on a ride. It's good fun, but at the end, everyone has. I mean, someone has to pay, and it's good fun if it's not you. Okay, so in in the world of pay-as-you-go, you don't purchase tickets ahead. You go on a ride, you enjoy your ride, and then you pay. This is a good and bad thing, and it's like every other tool. It has its use, but you have to be careful to not overuse it. And if too many people are invited to the party and you didn't invite, and you didn't actually want to pay for all these people, and you will be surprised with the bill at the end. Now I think I'm talking too fast. I want to a little bit to cool down and say, if you actually meant to invite the whole team to the party, and you have kind of team building event, and you want these people to enjoy this ride, this is your model. This is great for you. For the big companies, it makes sense. Then you want to distribute apps across all departments, and you want all people to have access to this app. For example, it can be something HR related, and again, compliance HR related, anything. Maybe come back to work app or something like this. So you want the whole company to access this app. Also for Leon, do you think it makes sense more for big companies, or you see it can be used for small companies as well?
So I guess, so for those that aren't familiar with this announcement, so up until the announcement, there were limits on what you could do with things like Power Automate. You'd hit these limits, and so what Microsoft have now said is you can link it to an Azure account. Tell me if I'm wrong, Olena. This is my understanding. You can link it to an Azure account, and then use your credit card on your Azure account to basically cover any time you go over that limit. So rather than being cut off, you can do that. I guess where I see the value in it is if you've got a process, some kind of process that's going on where you have a pretty good idea of the volumes, but it's business critical. And so, most of the time, 99% of the time that you're going to be doing this process through Power Platform, and it's going to be well below the limits. But if there is an occasion where it suddenly spikes, I don't know, some kind of integration or some kind of ticket purchasing or whatever it is, it's some kind of process which is bringing information in, and there's seasonality variations, but it's vital. And I get something like, we're currently at Thanksgiving, right? So something like Black Friday, this kind of thing. Through the year, you're going to have a certain volume of transactions. Then suddenly at Black Friday, you can't have it stop those transactions at Black Friday. So you need some kind of insurance cover to allow you to take those extra limits. I can see value in it, right? And it might be that if each one of those transactions represents a certain dollar amount, then you don't care if there's an extra 10 cents per transaction because you're suddenly going onto your Azure dollars. I can see benefit. I can see benefit in that specific scenario.
I'm specifically excited about what you mentioned about limits and throughput limits, because for big companies, it was a real issue. For go live projects, when you have to migrate a huge amount of data and you constantly hit this limitation, and you just can't just go live, right? So it doesn't matter. It gives, I think, it gives bigger companies like maybe government organizations this control back, so they can actually do like go over limits, and they pay later, like you mentioned, for certain scenarios, like go live scenarios, like data migrations and some big events. I think it's amazing, and it's going to solve definitely lots of headaches for consultants and for clients. And also for big companies, it makes sense if each department spins their own environment, then it gets, like you mentioned, it all goes via Azure subscription. And for the environment, they create a policy gets created, and this policy creates a resource on Azure. And in this way, you admins will have more control in terms of costs and in terms of usage and everything. And it can be linked to the specific environment back, like to the cost center. You at least know who's using what, because I was in a situation with my client. Then they actually purchased certain amount of storage, and they purchased storage and they purchased licenses, and they were over. But someone else in a different department purchased more licenses for Project Online, and accidentally, all of a sudden, these guys got more storage, which they could use, right? They didn't purchase, they didn't pay for this, and so I think it's more structured, and for big organization, it gives more structure how people can manage costs and plan things.
Yeah, I think so. Anyone else on the panel have thoughts about the new licensing? Otherwise, we can look at some of the other announcements.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this really helps the developers to actually test the waters first, right? Because sometimes like you just want to try out certain things and without too much investment upfront. And so you can actually tie to, especially if you're a developer who actually does a lot of work in the Azure world. And so you could use up the Azure subscriptions that you have and tie across to your app, and then try things out even before you're having to procure those licenses. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of good scenarios that you could do through this.
Just one thing at the end, just be mindful, because it doesn't look like a cost-saving tool to me. If you expect your users to use multiple apps, you have to pay for each app separately. So it's combined price if you go for normal licensing model, but for pay-as-you-go, they attach this app, they attach 5 apps per month, you're going to pay for 5 apps. And
yeah, definitely.
So another one of the announcements that I saw, which excites me, right, from a functional background, I haven't done coding since the language was called C. So this is even before it's called C++. So any kind of development, it's not what I do. But one of the exciting things I saw was around the GPT-3 and the pros, where you can literally use natural language to ask for a sort of a baseline script to be created within a range of tools now. So within Power BI and within Power Apps, and it'll create a sort of a candidate set of code, or the pros, where you give it samples of the kinds of outputs you want based on a list. So it might be that you have a phone number, and you say, actually, I want the phone number in this format, and you write the examples, and then it generates the script to apply that mask. Very exciting for people like me that want a sort of an in that we have a technical mind, but we're not necessarily completely conversant in the script, and so this would give us a good start. I see a lot of benefit there. Tae, I know this is one of the features that you're quite excited about as well. Is this something you'll be using at Blackmores?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, not all the time that I actually get to spend in Canvas App as well, and always looking at those functions, PowerFX functions and things like that. So like for me, like having to have this ability where Power Apps platform, it can generate the actual expressions by me providing a natural language that it can go and transform that into a PowerFX formula. It's going to be really powerful, right? And the feature I actually really like the most is the pros. So there's the programming by example. And that's really handy, because that is something like it's something that you can't exactly explain it through like a natural language, but it's you give the machine a example to actually formulate that, right? So I think it will be especially useful for something like a date formatting or some sort of formatting. So I actually did play around with this feature this morning, and it was really quite awesome, because I had like I think I wanted to get initials for a person or something like that, And then if I was to go and do that, like, I might be just Googling away on the side, like, oh, how do I actually split the characters and whatnot, and then putting it together. But then I could just go in there and give it some example and train it, and then it will actually spit back exactly the way that I wanted it. So it is actually a productivity tool for, like, even for pro devs as well. And yeah, so I'm very excited to start using this. And yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, just as you were speaking, I was thinking that natural language, at the moment, I assume it's only English. So I assume the natural language aspect, the GPT-3 aspect, has probably been trained exclusively on English. I don't know for sure, but I assume it is. Whereas the prose, of course, the prose aspect is language independent to some extent, to a large extent. You're giving it examples. So you don't necessarily need to know how to ask the question in English in order to get it to generate a candidate script if you're using the prose aspect of it. So yeah, just speaking there, to me that's quite exciting. That potentially this opens up not only it lowers the barriers for novice coders to come onto the platform, but potentially coders where English is a second language or they're not strong in English. Jatin Jaflet, as student ambassadors, do you see value in this tool to sort of bring people into, for example, I've been telling my daughter she should get onto the Power Platform, that she could earn lots of good money. She's only 12, but she could earn good money as a 12-year-old doing this. She said, oh, but I don't want to code. And I explained to her the GPT-3 tool, and suddenly she's very excited. Do you see the similar potential in what you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. So this feature, I remember like back at Build conference when they announced that Microsoft is actually in a collaboration with Elon Musk OpenAI. That we all know that OpenAI has a great history, and especially in the machine learning side, like 175 billion parameters of trained models. So the kind of power that we are talking about of artificial intelligence. And when I heard that Power Platform will be using this type of technology to empower people, because just like Leon said, there are many people outside who don't know how to code, but they do have some really amazing ideas that can transform the entire world. I have seen many leaders who don't know how to code, but they know how to change the world. And right now, for someone who is totally new to Power Platform, it's really easy. We can just access the gallery options and then the ideas, and it is like just write what you want. So in Power Platform, we have Microsoft Power FX as the language. It pretty much looks like the kind of formulas that we use in Excel sheets. So it's not a normal code. That's why we can go for a low code term here. But it's more like you are just sharing about the ideas that you have to the Power Platform. So can you please filter out all the data tables that has dogs in it? I'm a dog owner business. I don't know how to code, but I can actually play with Power BI, and along with this totally new application that I'll be developing with the Azure OpenAI services, I'll be like, I can use Cortana or any conversational AI. Let's just say I don't know how to even write English. I can just take any conversational AI. I can just say that the ideas that I am having right now, and the power, the kind of power that we are dealing with here, it can turn ideas into reality. That's what I can say, because even right now in the Ignite, I was really fascinated about all the upcoming changes that we have. I have attended mostly the Power Platform because I am in love with the power technology. I have even attended Chloe's entire session about how introduction to Power Platform, because I love to have a refresh about the entire technology. So I did enjoy Chloe. So hats off to that. It was a great content. And after that, new announcements, and the entire thing was so empowering. So if I have to specify about someone, for example, your daughter, and if even she want to explore Power Platform, it's really easy. You can have so much power. You can. I remember one of my fellow gold ambassadors, Himantika Mitra. She is right now in Microsoft as a full time, and she had an article on it about how someone can make a AR application out of Power Apps. And it was just like 15-20 minutes. So think about it, as a school, like just a kid, not even a college student, and you are making an augmented reality application out of Power Apps. Isn't it a feeling close to what we can say I am a god kind of a feeling? That without even knowing how to code, you are making a totally kind of app that relates to the current trend of metaverse. So for me, this is what empowerment looks like. when people without the certain set of skills can actually perform and give an output and have the capabilities and powers of with the people that have that sort of skills. And that is no less than revolutionary for me. And as we have seen recently, Satya sir's note that how it's going to be so amazing with upcoming metaverse with Microsoft, and they have featured the entire Azure OpenAI services in GitHub Copilot as well. So I'm just looking forward so much excitingly about how many things that are lined up for us. And yeah, that's what I feel about it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Microsoft is certainly bring a lot of innovation. Jaflet, how about yourself? These new tools, the GPT-3 and Pros.
From here, I'm a big fan of artificial intelligence. I love building solutions with AI. And one of the new features that really caught my attention in Power Platform is the fact that you can now integrate it with the Microsoft Loop, which gives you the opportunity to build your machine learning models. So it's more of Power Platform giving me the opportunity to build solutions without knowing how to code, and then integrating it with another solution that would make my AI models, my machine learning models, even better. And that really, that really for me is a really, really big move for Microsoft. Like Jatin mentioned, being able to empower people, even though they don't know how to code, even though they don't know how to write in programming languages, how to build solutions, certain programming languages. They can still bring their ideas. They can still bring the things they have upstairs, the things they are thinking about to life with all of this. And that for me is a really big one, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned there the Microsoft have now allowed us to bring other AI models onto the platform, right? So we can train our AI model somewhere else. And I think you mentioned, I think it's Lobe, isn't it? The tool, which is this. For those that don't, you can if you it's
right.
desktop
classification,
zero code training classification system where you literally take photos of say plants and you can classify the plants in zero code. Very easy to use. You can now get that model and bring it into the Power Platform, and then you can build your apps. You could easily, without any code, create an application which identifies plants, identifies anything, grains, anything. It's so exciting.
Leon, do you remember our talk about you identifying spider with the flow? Do you remember?
Yes.
You did
this.
You
created the tweetbot.
You can train it with Lobe now.
Yes. So I trained a model to recognize, we have some poisonous spiders here in Australia, and I trained a model to recognize redback spiders, and then people could tweet their pictures. But now you could do that with Lobe. I didn't really require any code at that time, but it would be the barriers are even lower. It's very exciting times that we can do that. So for anyone that's watching this on YouTube or in the call, if you're curious about the Power Platform, it's getting to the point where you can access it and do a lot of things without any code. It's very exciting times. Olena, there's one aspect of the announcements which
wait for this, because now we get credits with Power Apps licenses. We get AI credits now for AI Builder.
Oh, fantastic!
This is a really good feature
for me. Yeah, this is
this is really that encourages us even more to play with these AI models and create our own intelligent systems. This is fantastic.
Yeah,
credits are always the best thing.
There was one aspect. There's one aspect which hasn't got a lot of press, and I only know a little bit about it, which was the process advisor. And again, Olena, I'm putting you on the spot here, but I think you actually know a little bit about this thing and what it does and what it's good for. It's some kind of process mapping tool, but I don't know anything more than this.
I actually do a little bit. No, I still want to explore more, but we discussed with Tae that we're not going to talk about this. But because you mentioned it, we're still going to talk about this. So yeah, the process advisor. We know that there's already been announced that I think was it task. Was it task? How was the name?
Task mining.
task mining. Then you can record, do recording of all the tasks of the process, right? Let's say the operation, like how people work, how they create order, what they do, the whole process of creation from for processing order from the beginning to the end. You can record this, and then you can run this this tool, and it's actually you can find it in, if you go to the flow space, flow Microsoft, Microsoft.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
file to make
Yeah.
desktop, right?
Yeah, and you can find it in there, and it's available now. I was actually playing a bit with the process advisor, which is a bit different. You feed the data source, you feed data, you can feed your my understanding, it was initially it meant to for more like ERP, SAP, but you can actually start playing and bring your C data as well, or Power Platform data, but you have to understand how it works. It basically takes log activities. Let's say Leon opened order, and he just recorded something, then he passed this order for approval to Jatin, and then Tae picked it up, and she added some like kind of attachments, or I don't know, and then it was converted to something. All these activities get captured in logs, then you feed it to the tool, and it does this cool drawing for you. And because you have these logs for different people, you can see how people follow or not follow the process, where process get slippery and where you can improve, and it will actually suggest you the improvement, and may even suggest which flow to use for this for some step. And so it's really cool to explore actually, and you can bring data from different systems. I think Tae mentioned it, so you can actually bring from whatever sources, whatever makes sense to your process, you bring this data, you feed it to the tool, and then you just explore and see where you can improve your process.
Yeah, so it uses data flow, I think, for retrieving and transforming some of these telemetries from the systems of record.
So, and then, it's use a Power Query. Yeah.
And then, that's right. And then maps to these fields that you can use for the actual process mining process itself. And where Olena was saying about those really cool like paths and diagrams and whatever, like, it actually shows you all these different variants of it as well. So like a certain user went through this like steps, and then the other users may have gone through another step. And then the diagram is actually really good because it actually shows you where the bottleneck might be in the step. And then it highlights how long, on average, how long that actually has took to process that step. And then that sort of gives you an indicator that is the process that you actually need to look into or even automate in different ways or something like that, right? So yeah, it's actually a really effective tool to see your existing processes and how you can optimize them.
See, I tried to post it in the chat as the image, and it didn't let me. So I found the image online. Just wanted to show what I mean as a cool diagram.
I think I've got a link here. If well, maybe.
Yeah, it's sort of a new tool on the block to some extent. So yeah, certainly for process analysis and process management, it sounds like it's worth a look at.
The coolest feature is already available, so you just go to your flow space, but it's in your organization. Just open it and it's there, and you just go and play. And also they have amazing lessons there. Like, so if you want to just start and explore, they have this tutorials for the beginners, and they explain everything on every step. They have links and they highlight, and there's some interesting cool docs, and I think I have links somewhere. I will post it in the chat in a sec.
If I'm looking at the time, Michael, I think we've only got a couple of minutes left. If there's any questions, of course, you can put them in the chat. If you want to raise your hand, if you prefer to ask them. Is that right, Michael? We've only got a minute or so left.
Sure, but if you want to, extend for a little while longer, I see there's
Okay.
still plenty of people on. I'm happy for you to go another 10 minutes if you guys are comfortable doing that.
Cool.
I'm good for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's keep
Yep.
going.
Yeah.
I think there's a question in the chat. I don't know if it's really a question from Ananda. Sorry if I got the name wrongly. So yeah, she's saying, how do we sell Power Platform solution over other technology platforms? As it's low-code solutions, sometimes it's difficult to sell the Power Platform solution. So I don't know, would somebody like to go first? Because it's really interesting. Yeah, so would somebody like to go first?
Yeah, I was listening to all your excitement. I was thinking the exact thing. There is a problem, right? So I don't think I want to talk about this. I think I'm fine at the moment, but I don't feel like it's a problem for me personally. But yeah, there's a flavor. Like if AI does all this coding for us, what we're gonna eat tomorrow? Who wants to talk about? Do you guys want to talk? Because you are excited, but you want to go and work actually, and you're gonna be the ones who's gonna sell these solutions. So what do you think about, what's your excitement? And it's super easy to code, but then how are you going to sell your skills? Like everyone can code, and
Actually, if I may,
good topic.
about this,
Please,
sorry,
Jatin.
so basically, I have recalled this sort of question recently because I was working with Lee Stott on a blog about how power technology, or especially like power apps, how people are using power apps as a solution. And specifically, if I say about how selling is done on power technology, so I did a bit of a research to write that blog, and I came up with some really, really amazing articles where there are firms who totally, provide solutions, more of a solution architect firms, and they work with schools and different startups, and they provide solutions because everyone like to have their own database totally sorted and maintained, and the query should be really quick and all. But right now, the kind of features that we are talking about, the AI features, and having the AI features integrated with the solutions like Power BI that we are talking about for all the data analytics. If you go with two different services at the same time for your organization, it would be very costly. But whenever we talk about Power Apps, or whenever we talk about Power BI, we would be having Azure artificial intelligence, all the solutions and features already with the Power BI. For example, whenever we make a Twitter analysis model or Twitter analysis project, like I made in my minor project of my university, it was using actually AI Builder from Microsoft. So I don't have to have 2 to 3 different vendors working for me at the same time. So that's how you can actually go forward, because people are doing it in the market. People are actually working with different schools, organizations, and many places to provide them with the right solutions. For example, having the entire query and automation of your entire database, people are using Power BI. When it comes to mass mailing, when it comes to analyzing negative content on Twitter and social media regarding our own branding or campaigns, people are using Power Automate. It is really quick with the help of AI Builder. And when people are actually facing the problems in COVID, where they need to teach people how to implement stuff, and especially when it comes about coding, like the coding is a really kind of a nomenclature that is actually out there for a long time, and now even the 6th and 7th standard kids are actually having coding or programming as a part of their syllabus. So with the help of Power Apps, I have seen, like, I have seen some really close friends teaching their cousins about how they can just use the basic functions of Power App to design a simple application, and they were really happy, you know so if when we talk about selling something, it's always about making sure that people do know what are the pros and what are the impact of using this sort of services. And I have seen that in action while doing all the research for that blog.
Yeah,
I actually,
I agree. I agree with
sorry.
Jatin. The fact that it's a low-code platform, you've got to ask yourself the kinds of what problem you're trying to solve. If a company is saying we've got lots of people with good ideas, but our developers are overworked, and we need to be able to implement these ideas to improve our business, then obviously a low-code platform is the way to go. If it's a different kind of problem where you need to do heavy development, then perhaps a low-code platform isn't the way to go. So Olena, you had some thoughts.
Yeah, I have one customer of mine. Actually, Jitin reminded me. It's actually a very good example. It's one of my favorite customers, and they wouldn't be our customers if not for Power Platform, because these projects, they are NFPs, non-for-profit organization. They do good thing. They are community housing. They build housing for people who cannot afford their own rent or buy house. So we build a Power Platform solution, and we build them over a year, many like different solutions, and now we're building another one, and they won't be able to afford any solution, and they won't go for any solution if it's not a Power Platform. So it was quick to build, it was cost effective, and it worked just fine and perfect, and it had all the integrations they needed and everything in one place. So it was just perfect, and they wouldn't be able to automate what they automated, and their manual processes, their people were using manual work. They were processing using months, processing some documents. Now they're doing it a day. In a day, they just done. So it's a massive improvement for them with Power Platform, and we wouldn't probably be there. Like they won't be our customers if not for Power Platform. They wouldn't be able to afford any coding or super complex, super expensive solution at all.
You'll remember, Olena, when we worked together on a large university project, I wrote my first Power Automate flow for that project.
You said you're an expert. Leon said,
well,
I'm an expert with the flow.
On flow, and I was an expert. But what that flow did, there'd been a piece of the email system of the organization and Dynamics. It had literally taken them 2 weeks of development to create this with version 4 of CRM. Whereas I created a Power Automate flow, which did exactly the same function, was configurable, was something they could take and they could modify themselves. It took me an afternoon. And it was completely visible what it was doing. It was very easy to see what process it was going through. It wasn't obfuscated behind a layer of code or anything. So there's an awful lot of power in this platform. It's very exciting. But yeah, in terms of the selling, if the problems you're trying to solve lend themselves to a low-code platform where you can do rapid application, where the what you develop out of it is going to be maintained by the customer, I think it's a fantastic platform. It's something that should be easy. Should be compelling to organizations looking to, say, reduce their consulting dollars and to take some of the power back themselves, or to empower their staff to be part of the solution, rather than simply just coming up with ideas and then having those ideas go into a black hole.
Hey, Leon, just conscious of time. Why don't we, if we may, maybe just go around the panel for the last, 3 or 4 minutes. Everyone can just give their, 2-minute, sort of overview, wrap it up, and that would be a fantastic session for our audience.
Great idea. You read my mind. Who wants to go first?
It's a dinner time.
Kids are screaming. We've got to get out of here.
Let's start with Jaflet. Jaflet, is there any feature? Okay, obviously, there's so much to talk about. Is there one feature, or what was your favorite highlight of the announcements?
Okay, so for me, I still love and appreciate the fact that Microsoft continues to have those who do not know how to code, those who want to get into technology but do not want to get into technology through programming in mind, and they get to use Power Platform as a medium to make this happen. So all I would say to everybody is check out these new features. They are really amazing. If you are persons who want to get into technology, whom that do not want to get into technology through the programming path, then Power Platform is a great solution they need to learn. They can try out with the Microsoft 365 developer subscription that Microsoft has. Check out, try out these solutions, build with all of these amazing technologies. And if you have any questions at any point in time, you can definitely reach out to any of us, and we'll be sure to respond to your questions.
Excellent. Tae, how about you? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I love all the collaboration stuff that got announced and Ignite as well. So one of the favorite ones that came to mind was the co-authoring aspect, and that's for actually being able to co-author a Canvas app together, and everything gets unpacked into the Git repo. So there you go. There's some pro code aspect of the announcement there for anyone who wants to go and try it. It's a truly experimental feature, so a lot of feedback might actually be helpful for Microsoft as well. And so, yeah, I mean, there's heaps of really great stuff. So please do go and read, what is it? Book of News for Ignite, isn't it?
Book of News.
Yeah, so Book of News. Yeah, so do check that out. We'll put a link in the chat. And yeah.
Jatin?
Thank you so much, Leon. And yeah, it was an amazing discussion that we had around all the features. And if I have to talk about my side of this Power Platform technology, I am still in love with how Power technology has been working with the OpenAI services and Azure. You know, because for me, I am in love with this program since the day one, because I know that the vision that we follow of empowerment and impact, that actually inspire me in a really big way. And when I talk about Power Platform, I love how we are using the AI services along with the Power Platform for making sure that people who even don't know anything about technology can even use this sort of technology to empower their businesses, their local businesses. And I know how much local businesses suffered from COVID. So, you know, the kind of technology that we are delivering and kind of OpenAI Azure services that will be empowering, you know, how even without any code, you will be able to make such amazing applications and flows. So yeah, that would still be the highlight for the entire conferences for me. You know, since it's amazing to see we are actually empowering people out there. We are still making an impact out there for each and everyone, and that vision's actually empowers the very own idea of the entire Power Platform. You know, the low code, no code. That is for people who are there without technology, who don't know about code. So yeah, I love the entire thing. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
No, the empowering Power Platform. Olena, any final words?
Yeah. On that note, me and Tae, we both are pro devs, right? So Microsoft still loves pro devs, and there are lots of cool features for pro devs in the Ignite announcements, and there's a bunch of DevOps features and everything. So you just go and check dev features as well, and who likes coding like me, like Tae, and like me. The Microsoft still loves coders as well. So
and also the Fusion development, right? Fusion development.
Yeah.
So
it's like a two-way tunnel for both the sides.
Fantastic. Thank you. Back to you, Michael.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I very much appreciate all your time, the audience for staying on and listening, and hopefully you all got something fantastic out of it. Super grateful to our wonderful panel, Leon for moderating, Olena, Jatin, Tae, and Jefflet. Thank you so much for giving up your time. You might have seen I've posted some stuff in the chat around doing a survey. If you get a chance, that's great. We love to learn what people are interested in, how we can improve. And as I said, the event will be uploaded to YouTube. So please, if you've missed something, jump on there and then reach out to any of our wonderful speakers on their LinkedIn or their social profiles. I'm sure you can search them all and they will appear. But without anything else, I will close the session and thank you all so much for your time. Good evening, good morning. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, everyone.
Cool.
Thanks
Thank you,
so much.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Stay safe,
See you, everyone.
everyone.